So Georgia, with the right governor, every dime that was cut in Medicaid in Washington, we can put it back under the gold dome. So your mothers and your aunts and your brothers and sisters won't have to get kicked out of the nursing home. Every dime that was cut from SNAP benefits and children on Tifton County all over Georgia going to bed hungry tonight. Every dime that's cut from SNAP, you elect the right governor, we'll put it back under the gold dome. Every dime cut from public education, we can put it back under the gold dome. And the only thing that gotta happen in order to put it back is you gotta elect who? A right governor named Mike Thurmond, by the way. Right? Does that make sense? Let me stop. Any questions, and then I'll keep talking. I'm helping you understand, because see, there are many people who thought that when Trump signed the bill, it was over. It's not over. The fight not over. Any veterans? Any veterans? Yes, sir. Let's give our veterans a round of applause. Let's give our veterans a round of applause. You know, in a war, you fight, but there's really no army that wins what? Every battle. Sometimes, in order to win, you step back, you retreat, and you reform the lines. Is that right?
That's right.
All the fight in Washington is not over. We're just gonna continue to fight under the gold dome. But I can't do it without you. I need your help. And I know some of the folk in Atlanta, the city-fied folks, they wondering why I'm driving 3 hours to come to Tifton. Because I know something they don't know. I know where Victory is. And by the way, y'all may think I'm from Atlanta, but I'm really not. And Judge Mill said I was from Athens. I ain't even from Athens either. I'm from near Athens. Now where would that be? If you from near somewhere. Anybody else from near somewhere? Where you from?
I'm near Augusta.
Well, near there. I went to Payne, so I know places over near Augusta.
Louisville, Georgia.
Oh yeah, yeah, Louisville.
Yes, sir.
Jefferson County?
Yes, sir.
Former state capital in
Yes, sir.
Louisville. I've been to that auction block there in Louisville. Janice Reed's a friend of mine from over there. Marie Alexander.
Yeah.
You know Marie?
I know both of them. Went to school with them.
Yeah, I went to school with them too in college. So I'm from near Athens. I ain't from Athens. So when you look at them, you know, when we start running the commercials and all, don't just look at the white shirt and the blue jacket. Look a little bit closer. Let me tell you what you're gonna see. Your next governor, the man that you all gonna elect to represent you, grew up on a dead-end dirt road. With an outhouse out there. Till he was 16 years old. All right? Don't y'all be trying to look sorry for me. I ain't the only one. I guess I'm not the only one in this room. Maybe y'all a little bit more sophisticated. I'm sorry. Dead end dirt road. Right? Outhouse out back. And my daddy, your granddaddy, used to always tell me, said, son, that's a magic road. I said, Dad, ain't nothing magic about this old dirt road. He said, yes, it is. He said, if you get on this old dead end dirt road with a belief in God and a willingness to work hard, this old dirt road will take you anywhere you want to go in life. And see, sometimes we have blessings, we don't even know we got blessings. And the other thing is that, you know, it's a dead end dirt road. That's an advantage. Because you don't have to waste time trying to figure which way out. Ain't but one way out. Ain't but one way out. So I got on that old dirt road a long time ago. And that old dirt road took me literally from the outhouse to courthouses, where I practiced law all across the state of Georgia. It took me from the outhouse to the courthouse to the state house under the gold dome, where I served in the Georgia House of Representatives. If y'all would stand with me, that old dirt road would take us from the outhouse to the courthouse to the state house, and we're going to the governor's house.
All right.
Let me tell you, we're going to the governor's house, and I'm going to change the name from the governor's mansion to the people's house.
Okay.
Cause that house belongs to you, cause you pay for it with your state tax dollars, am I right?
Yes.
And when you really think about the governor's mansion, it ain't nothing but subsidized public housing. This government belongs to you, and if you give me this opportunity, I'm gonna return it to the people who are paying for it. We're gonna have health care that extends to all across, and particularly in rural Georgia. We're gonna have food stamps there for children who need them. We're gonna have an education system that creates multiple pathways to success. If you wanna go to Abraham Baldwin or Albany State or Savannah or Georgia Tech, that's fine. But it's just as important to go to a technical college as it is to go to Georgia Tech. Because we now live in a society where skills are equally as important as degrees. Am I right? We have to help our young parents and people know this, that a skill is really important in this economy. Look, I tell people, it's not the color of the collar, white collar, blue collar, no collar. It's not the color of the collar, but it's the green and the dollar that make all the difference. We have to understand, if your toilet go out, you call the plumber, you ain't asking them how much, what you asking? How soon can you get here, right? That's what we have to do, is to create an education system that respects all type of honest labor. I wanna be your next governor, I can't do it without you. We can't win without Tift County, we can't win without Tifton. Your vote is going to be the votes that determine the outcome of, not just the outcome of this election, but the future of this state and the future of our nation. I need your help, I'm here asking for it, I need your prayers, and I want you all, Larry will speak for me. You give me, one thing my daddy taught me, son, you start a job, you finish the job. And that's the kind of person I'll be. Thank y'all so much, and I ask any questions.
Questions? I have one.
Yes, sir.
What is the likelihood of implementing trades back in the high school setting?
Yes,
We have
sir.
plumbing, we have construction, automotives.
That's a great question. When you all elect me as your next governor, I will be the first former school superintendent to serve as governor in the modern history of Georgia. One of the big problems we've had is that the politicians who trying to run the school system don't know nothing about schools. But you know, they say, well, I went to school, so I must know. No, you don't. We have to have multiple pathways to success. If you wanna go get a liberal arts degree or go be a lawyer, doctor, fine. But 70% of our kids are going to pursue other paths, and the trades are so important. And see, the thing about a job, it's not just the income. The income is important, but we kind of define who we are by our work. And let me tell you something else, why work is so important. Look inside the state prisons through your mind's eye right now. Look inside of those 60,000 men and women incarcerated right now. And through your mind's eye, tell me the majority, who do you see? Who are the majority of the people you see?
Black men.
Young black men. And, you know, Judge Mill know we lawyers. And so I started out being a criminal lawyer. Well, let me change that. Actually, I was a lawyer who represented. That didn't sound right. Wait a minute, we don't want him. But I used to sit there like Judge Hill, you know, and you every Monday morning, you see the young men come in the jumpsuit. And so I'm like, what's wrong with young black men? What's all this? Well, when I was labor commissioner, I read a book called When Work Disappears. This professor from Harvard did all the analysis of crime patterns of young black men, white men, Hispanic, Asian men. And he draws an amazing conclusion. The crime rate for young black men with jobs is no different than the crime rate for young white men.
Why?
With
jobs.
jobs. Got nothing to do with race or gender. It's whether or not you connected to honest labor. Your grandmama told you that an idle mind is what? She didn't have to go to Harvard, she knew it, right? Idle mind is the devil workshop. You stand on his corner in Tifton long enough, you don't have to go looking for the devil. He'll come what? Find you. So that's why what you say, sir, is so important. If you're not going to college, the military is an excellent career, right? Apprenticeships, technical school that will lead to fulfilling careers and employment. And look at all these tech billionaires and gazillionaires. Most of them didn't even go to college. It's a skill. We in an economy now where skills are equally as important as degrees. If you can program a computer, it doesn't matter what your degree is. Can you use, am I right? That's where we are, and I agree with you, and that's the kind of education system we're going to have. Multiple pathways to success, and we're gonna honor people regardless of whether you got a white collar, blue collar, no collar. If you engage in honest labor, you gotta be respected. I saw it. Yes, ma'am.
There's a surplus of money in the state right now, in the state of Georgia. And I wanted to make sure that, I'm a graduate of Albany State University.
And she's
Go
an
Rams.
AKA too.
And I want to make sure that Albany State and the Gap student, Albany State, Savannah State, Fort Valley, are receiving some of these extra funds, because we were promised a simulation hospital on Albany State campus. I understand, I think it went somewhere else, but I'm just trying to make sure those schools, those state schools, are getting their fair share of that money, should that become available.
She was Miss Albany State, so.
I didn't miss all this. Y'all give her a hand. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Give me a big hand for that.
And he just won a city council position in Adel.
You the one, you won the big prize. You got her, right? I got her. But no, listen, I'm a graduate of HBCU, and I've told the presidents of all three of those institutions, you won't have to waste 1 minute trying to explain to me the importance of HBCU. That's gonna be different, right? Yeah. We can, rather than trying to explain to me why it's important, I know why it's important. We can focus on what we can do to help them become more relevant. I saw a study where it was $800 million has been siphoned away from the school. We're going to make sure that our HBCUs and our institutions outside of Metro are getting their fair share. And I'll tell you, one of the programs we're gonna put at the HBCUs and other two-year institutions throughout the state of Georgia, and it's around AI.
Okay.
I'll come back to that. Don't let me forget. I'll come back. But look, I got the HBC. I'm paying college. I got it.
Me too, but I want to move the conversation to the economics of it, especially in Tifton. My observation, I can't tell you numbers, but my observation is that we have more micro enterprises than multinational enterprises, right? And so people want to use their skills, and we put it under the umbrella of entrepreneurship. But the reality is, we have those micro enterprises. And so I just wonder if you will give some thought as to how you might support, or what types of mechanisms or programs can be developed to support the micro enterprises in the rural South. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. Our
Yes.
economic development office, one of the things I did as CEO in the CAB, I appropriated $10 million. We set up a fund with a local community bank to provide equity for capital so that small business could borrow money. One of the biggest challenges for the small businesses is having access to capital.
Yes.
So basically, we set up a $10 million quote line of credit that small businesses could borrow against, right? And we turned the loan into a forgivable grant if the owner of the business would go work with the Chamber of Commerce and go to school and get some technical assistance. I'm started my own law firm. I've been in business as a small business owner. I know what it's like. Let me tell you, in this administration, I'm here to tell you, rural Georgia, small town Georgia will have a seat at the table.
Good.
Cause that's who I am. It's in my blood. And that's why I think it's important for me to be here having this conversation with you all. I know what the numbers tell me. The numbers say 65% of the vote is inside 285. And the numbers say that if you just win inside 285, you don't really need nothing else. And you know that's what is driven politics. I can win, but I can't govern. Many of the problems that manifest in DeKalb originate in Tift County. The reason we send our children, they graduate from high school, they go out to college, they can't come home. That's one of the saddest things at graduation. You know your child is graduating, but you also believe they're not gonna be necessarily like Larry, that they may never come home again. We gotta create opportunity. In order for that to happen, though, we gotta have medical care and we gotta have jobs in rural Georgia. And you gotta have somebody who ain't just talking it, but walking it. When I was coming down here looking at the cotton fields and the peas and the corn, I was home. I know what's growing out there. Don't nobody have to explain it to me, right? My first conscious memory as a child that I can remember is I'm at the end of a cotton row, because I was the youngest of 9 children, and you know, wasn't no daycare in the country. The whole family had to go to the field, right? Ain't no daycare. My first conscious memory is I'm sitting at the end of a cotton row on the cotton sheet. And mama would go down the row and come back and check me every now and then during the day. This is my heart. And I don't know why God wanted me to go this path, but I think He wanted me, when I get to where I'm going, to be able not to remember from where I come from. Yes, sir.
So you talk about creating a lot of things. What about industry in this South Georgia area?
Well, we've been bringing industry to Georgia. And let me give you an example. We spend hundreds of millions of dollars bringing industry to Georgia. I was on the coast, and the Hyundai plant, the new automobile plant down there off I-16. If you hadn't seen it, next time you go to Savannah, look to your right. And you driving 70 miles an hour. I think it takes you 10 minutes to drive past the plant.
Right.
It's just that big.
Right.
It's huge. And they're bringing 8,000 jobs. Now what they didn't tell us is that once they open the plant, majority of the jobs didn't go to Georgia, and they went to South Korea. You remember when they had the raid?
Yeah, the ice raid.
The ice raid? They weren't Georgians. We spent $100 million to get them here. My goal will be a job for every Georgian and a Georgian for every job. That's why we gotta get our kids ready to fill the jobs that come here. Why spend all this money and then the jobs go to, I ain't got nothing against South Korea, but this is Georgia money. Am I right? Right. Now, about 3 weeks ago, Hyundai announced that they're building an army of 30,000 robots. And that robots are gonna be doing most of the work in that plant. We stopped at McDonald's. I got a cup of coffee there. And I hadn't been inside. I always go to the drive-up. I went in there, and you don't order. It's a kiosk, right? Then a young man, Devontae, was with me. Devontae said, well, I drove up to a Hardee's, and it's a robot at the window. How can I help you? I was trying to make an airport reservation the other day, and I was talking to an AI attendant. Then she started arguing with me. Don't make me come in there and pull that plug out. But look, it's here to stay now. I'm gonna come back to what I said. We have to, number one, prepare our schools and prepare our young people for this next generation. AI not going away. One thing is the billionaires need to pay for their own data centers. They're not ratepayers. That's just where I stand. But also, for those of us, we gotta get ready. How many of you all ever use GPS in your car?
Sure.
What is that? That is what? AI. So people like us gotta be prepared, not to work, but at least to be able to manipulate and survive in this new environment. So at the HBCUs, at our 2-year colleges, our technical schools around the state, I'm gonna set up a program so that any Georgian, regardless of age, can go back and get a certificate in AI, free of charge. Short-term class, up to 2 quarters, that you can go, cause we have to prepare for cause it's already here. I ain't gonna tell you it's coming, it's what? It's already here. And that will generate revenue for our schools and make them more relevant going forward in the future. Yes, sir.
We were talking about the past, when you ran for office before, and how there was ballots on the ticket back in the day with Mark Taylor in South Georgia and Roy and Thurmond Baker. You're gonna end up with a congressional candidate from down here with some energy. In the past, we've had like no energy from the 10th to 8th in the 1st congressional district, but don't be surprised. And an ag commissioner who actually owns a tractor.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Yeah, you helped me put that together for us. And you
All right.
gotta have diversity on the ticket. Geographic diversity. You just can't have everybody from Atlanta and expect that that's gonna give you the energy you need. Cause we had Kathy Cox, we had Mark Taylor. The last time we won statewide, all of us, Thurmond Baker, myself, we were on it. Tommy Irvin was the agriculture commissioner. We gotta rebuild that. Yes, sir.
Good to see you again, sir.
Yes.
What is the plan for do you have a plan for the surplus in Georgia? I know it's like a campaign issue, and they beat us up on it every year, tax and spend Democrats. So what's your plan for the surplus?
Great question. Let me hear what he just said. Say that part again about they beat us up.
That's a campaign issue that they beat up Democrats year after year on is tax and spend.
Tax and spend. Let me tell you what I did. When I became the superintendent in the CAB, we had a $14 million deficit. They bought me in, I'm a non-educator, saved the district, because we were getting ready to lose accreditation, test scores were down, graduation rates were falling. 3 years later, when I left, the $14 million deficit was a $90 million surplus. Right? Our graduation rates were up, our test scores were up. We paid our teachers, we gave them raises they hadn't gotten in 3 or 4 years. When I went over to the DeKalb County government, we had a $27 million deficit. When I left, we had a $140 million surplus. While I was the CEO of DeKalb, we cut property taxes by $1.5 billion over 10 years. To your point, I'm not a tax and spend Democrat. Look, if you can't manage the money, and by the way, the #1 responsibility for the governor of Georgia is to manage a $38 billion budget. I'm the only candidate who has managed and led 4 agencies that had billion-dollar budgets associated with it. The CAB had a $1.6 billion budget. So I have a history of being able to manage the money. Now, what we have to do is we have to be worthy of the moment. Now, not only did I cut the taxes and balance the budget, I increased the starting minimum wage from $10.32 an hour to $17.67 an hour. You can do both. You can do both. And that's what we've been able to do, and that's how you're gonna push back on it. That's why I pushed my record on this walk card that you got. I talk a lot about how we've been able to manage the money, so to push back, cause the attack is gonna come, right? On being a tax and spend, and now they promising, but I got a record of not just cutting taxes, but managing money and providing the services needed to do what's right for people. All right. Yes, sir.
I need you to tell them what's the most immediate need for your campaign.
Oh, money. we need money. On the back of this little card here, That QR code, y'all know what that means? If you just take a picture of it, it'll take you directly to my website. No contribution is too large or too small. And what really helps is that I want people to see that there are folk in Tift County that support me. My campaign is boots on the ground. That's been my motto. I got boots on the ground all over this state. And I want people to be able to see that I got support from north to south. I was in Raven Gap, I was in Tiber Light, and now I'm in Tifton. I got a little map, and I just keep a track of where I've been, where I'm going. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna let you add to your list. I'm city council at large in ADL, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
Cook County, so add Cook County.
I need to come to Cook County. I had a friend, who was the county commissioner over there years ago, in Cook County, but I need to come, I'll be there.
Okay.
I'm coming to Cook County, yes, ma'am.
I'm from a small southern town called Vernon County, and they're one of the poorest county in Georgia. And look, like everybody forget about them. We had a hospital that was open, now it's closed. I need to know what are y'all attention for that little small town, Vernon County, because you got people, it's not growing, no business coming in there. So I need to know what are your attention to help little small country town that don't have a hospital, don't have doctors. You have to come out with all the, some had to go to Eufaula to get to a hospital. And I have relatives have to die because ambulance service couldn't get to them quick enough to get them to the hospital. So I need what are y'all attention about these small towns that doesn't have a hospital?
Well, extending Medicaid is the key. The gentleman said something about the surplus. Georgia has a $18 billion surplus. So the reason we didn't expand Medicaid didn't have nothing to do with money. It was all politics. And I tell you this, I will never allow politics to get in the way of doing what's right for the people of Georgia. Because we didn't expand Medicaid, you got relatives who died because they couldn't get access to it. We got people who got sick and then were not healed because they couldn't get to a doctor. I promise you, the first year I'm in office, we're gonna extend Medicaid in this state, so the counties like Randolph. Because you can't, if you don't have a hospital and don't support the schools, it's almost impossible. Am I right?
That's right.
Those are the two key things. And let me tell you, having access to affordable health care, that ain't a black thing. It ain't a white thing. It's a right thing. See, we gotta get to right things. Sometimes we get caught up in things and miss the whole point. Feeding hungry children, there are hungry white children and black children in Georgia tonight. Isn't that true?
That's right.
Yes.
And see, that ain't a white thing or a black thing. That's just what? Right thing.
Right thing.
I'm gonna be a governor that's about the right thing. I don't have a magic wand, but I tell you, I've been looking. You will have a seat at this table. You won't say that that we've been ignored. Me being here tonight is evidence that I am concerned about rural Georgia, where the income from people who work has declined almost 30% over the last 20 years. We gotta change that. We got to fight for rural Georgia. We can't be great if rural Georgia has been left to wither on the vine. We just can't do it. That's why it's my argument, and I don't just say this when I'm down here in South Georgia. I say it when I'm in Atlanta. You can't win, and I ain't just talking about winning the election. Georgia can't win unless we bring rural Georgia forward. Look, out on the farm, Dad always told me if you got something real heavy, you gotta lift from the bottom. You gotta get a grip. Am I right, City Council? To lift it. If we lift rural Georgia, guess what? We lift the whole state. But I need y'all to stand with me. I need y'all to just don't give up. Don't give up. Don't lose faith. I know it's been politicians come, but this is more than an election. This is about the future of our state, the future of our nation. Okay.
Who's speaking last?
Hi, I bring you greetings from the big city of Ty, Georgia,
Oh, yeah.
in Tift County. I remember when you were the director of Human Services, and I worked
DFACS.
Yes, DFACS, and I worked at DFACS up under I can think of, not Peach Care, but it was, I did job development with trying to help people go back to work who receiving benefits.
Yes.
Okay.
We did work first, I think that's what
Work
we call it.
first,
Work
that's it,
first, that's
that's
what we
it.
call it.
But I think about now, about children and families, and I saw on the news a couple of weeks ago about the deficit. I think it's $80 million that, there's a deficit, but then we still have children that need services. What is a plan of, how do you plan to address that? And of course, case managers at DFACS are continue to be, agencies continue to be understaffed, overworked. What is your plan, since you have a lot of experience in that area?
No, thank you for the question. Were you there? We might have been there together.
Well, we were there.
We were there together. Y'all elect me governor, this is a broken record. I'll be the first former DFACS director. And so when you come see me talking about the issues around families and children, you won't have to explain it to me. I got it. The system we put in place, you know it hasn't changed. It's time to revisit that. We created transitional Medicaid. Up until we changed it, if you were on AFDC, now Tanner, if you got a job, you lost your medical coverage the next day. We created transitional medical coverage. I funded it. Under the old system, if you were on AFDC, now Tanner, if you got a job, you lost your child care the next day. We created transitional child care. They call it the CAPS program now. We started that. We gotta raise the income level to $80,000 a year, $160,000 per couple, right? So many young families with children and grandparents having to raise children. One of the biggest debts you have is trying to pay for what? Child care. We're going to change that. You wanna help young families, then you help them pay for child care. And that's what we're going to be about. And now grandparents are helping the children to pay for what? The child care. We're gonna change that. I can't wait to get back to DFACS. We made some progress, but it's work to be done. The Fatherhood Initiative, we created that. I ran the program, Child Support Enforcement. I had a lot of jobs. And I had 1,200 employees, and their job was try to force fathers with children, non-custodial, to pay child support. And basically, when I came in, you know, Zell Miller had this thing about deadbeat dads, and they were putting these fathers in jail. And one day, we had a young man, and the judge sent us into jail, and I heard he spoke up. He said, "Judge, if I had a job, I'd pay my child support." And it just dawned on me. So what we did, we started the Fatherhood Initiative program with the technical college. And we tell the father, look, if you don't wanna go to jail, go to technical college, learn a skill, get a job, so you can pay your child support.
That was part of Family Connections, right?
Yes, sir. We collected tens of millions of dollars from young men who said, okay, it's a difference between a deadbeat dad and a dead broke dad. Let me say it again, it's the difference between deadbeat and what? Dead broke. If you're dead broke, you don't need to be in jail. What you need?
A job.
A job. And so, and we taught the joys of parenting. They underfunded that. It's still on the books. We're going to go back and pick up where we left off. And really, that'll help rural Georgia too. Because DFACS, the Georgia Department of Labor, those are programs, the technical colleges that can really help rural Georgia. We're going to expand Medicaid. And Georgia is one of only 7 states that does not give local school districts extra money to educate children who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. One of the few. And my educators, where are my educators? Where are my educators? One of the tough, yeah, it's tough. Because many of our kids come to school reading 2 levels behind. And then we take the kids, you grow them, right? But they don't give you the credit for it. The teachers who teaching the most challenging kids don't get the credit. We're gonna change how the QBE funding formula is so that these districts in Randolph County and other counties that doesn't have the tax base, they need more money to educate those kids. Thank y'all so much.
You're gonna stay toward the end for
Oh, yeah, I'll be around, I gotta shake more hands and I don't see no babies, but anyway.
Okay.